When we think of aquatic life, we'll often picture fish, frogs, and newts. Maybe tadpoles and the bugs at the bottom. All of the things that swim around in the deepest pools of lakes and ponds. But there is a whole host of organisms that have evolved to live just under and even on the water's surface, in a place called the surface film habitat. Small creatures like pond skaters walk across the surface, while others cling upside down to the bottom, feeding on anything that drifts past. The surface makes up a tiny part of the whole pond, but it's a special place. It's the barrier between water and air, where some animals break free from old bodies to emerge in a new world. It traps large amounts of organic matter and receives high levels of solar radiation. But the most interesting thing about it is the surface tension. Surface tension is a force, and that means that the surface of these liquids, like the water in this pond, can act like an elastic sheet. And this is because the molecules in these liquids are attracted really strongly to each other, but not to the air above the surface. The molecules on the top can't grab anything above them, and as a result are pulled down and forced together, creating a thin film. So, because the molecules of water are so tightly compacted at the top of the liquid, it means that things can take advantage of it. Things that would usually be much more dense than water can actually sit on the surface, including things like pond skaters and this needle. But surface tension is a property that can change, and it's affected by things like temperature as well as substances that are dissolved in the liquid. If I was to get some of this soap and drop some gently in the water, we can see that the needle falls down to the bottom, and this is because the surface tension of the water is now weaker. And this is a really big problem in the countryside for lots of streams and rivers, where the addition of pollutants and agricultural runoff changes the surface tension of those streams and rivers. This makes it a lot harder for creatures like pond skaters to skim across the surface. Pond skaters are covered in thousands of microscopic hairs. These hairs repel the water, and means that when they spread out their weight with their long legs, they can walk on the surface. Their legs are also used to propel themselves forward. The middle two are used for rowing, while the back two act as rudders which control the direction. The short legs at their front are for grasping other insects. Pond skaters are predators. The short hairs that help them float also help them detect ripples from struggling prey. Anything that's unfortunate enough to tumble into the water is latched onto with a sharp beak, which injects digestive juices before sucking out the insides. It will be a while though before these nymphs are as deadly as fully grown adults. Under the surface, other insect life can take advantage of the surface tension. Mosquito larvae, for the most part, are herbivores and hang down into the water. The larvae are filter feeders and suck up algae, plankton, and other microorganisms with their mouth brushes. But importantly, they don't have gills, and they must breathe the air. Young mosquitoes have a siphon, a small tube like a snorkel that they can place into the air while they hang upside down. It acts like a raft, sitting on the surface film and holding them up while they drift across the pond, until they wriggle away from hungry predators. Riffle beetles also breathe air, but they use a slightly different method. These tiny creatures spend most of their time clinging to submerged rocks and wood. They walk across the shallow bottoms while they eat plant material. So when do they breathe? Just like pond skaters,
riffle beetles are covered in thousands of tiny hairs that repel the water. Rather than letting them float, when they walk down into the water, an air bubble is created. It forms around their bodies, which lets them breathe underwater. The beetles are then free to do as they please on the bottom of the pond. At the surface, there are lots of amazing adaptations, and surface tension plays a crucial role in the life cycles of many animals. Just by itself, the surface film habitat is an incredibly important place for wildlife.